everybody. Okay. It's okay. I see the essential. See. Go live. Okay. Okay. Good now. We're good. Hi again.
Hello. Hope you
Okay.
can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. So I
All
think we
right.
are. So like I've notified on our various platforms that we are live, so people can just join us as it go. And then once we are done now, I would also upload this video.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is fine.
Wait, not like you were talking to.
Sorry,
Okay.
I just got a little distracted.
Okay, so should I introduce myself, or I mean everybody knows who we are and all that. It's you that you are the guest, so I think I should just give you the room to introduce yourself, and then we can.
Okay, so I guess I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are. I can hear you
All
clearly.
right. So my name is V. I'm a crypto enthusiast. I love to talk about crypto, NFT, Web3, the metaverse. I can talk about it all day. So I'm just excited to be here to, talk about Web3. I'm also the director of operations for Tezos Africa. So I'm excited to be on Token TV and let's have some fun.
Okay, that's great. Right, so I like that you talked about, you didn't particularly tell us what Tezos does, but that's good anyways, it's fine. Because it would have been a very good angle for me to pick up what Token TV is about from, but regardless, I'll still go ahead. So my name is Matilda, right? So I'm the one basically, all right. So Token TV is just a platform where, we come together and have conversations, right? The target audience for these platforms are basically the Gen Zs and the millennials. Right? So people like, and the theme or the thematic need for this platform basically is web, essentially Web3, the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, the metaverse, basically the next wave of the internet that has been, raving, people have been talking about and all of that. So
Mhm.
feel the need to have a platform like that, especially for Africans, right, where we just come and have these conversations, because what cannot be moving forward and then we would just stay stagnant, that kind of thing. So, and we realized that, or I realized that one of the most important needs that we have in this space is for platforms that can educate people to be available. So many people have we're talking about the misconceptions about Web3. There are so many things, ideas that are flying around about what Web3 is not, right? So I feel like this platform is basically one where people can get answers, right? And people
Yeah.
can learn to just basically learn what Web3 is all about and get to
Yeah.
know something they want to venture into, or even if they're not particularly venturing into it directly, it's also good to know about these things, because at the end of the day, it would affect you either directly or indirectly, right? So we're just starting off, we are just, building from the scratch. And that is
Yeah.
why the help of professionals like you. So that, what are we going to talk about? I'm not so knowledgeable about that, and you are more
Well,
knowledgeable. So I'll just let you do your thing,
okay.
right? You're going to
Yeah, maybe you could come in when probably you want to ask some questions or
yes,
probably get some clarifications or something.
actually, yeah.
All right, but so like before we move into it, I would like to just say that this is for educational and informational purposes only, right? I'm not a financial advisor, so that's something that should be very clear. Exactly. Yeah. So we are talking about misconceptions about Web3. Let me just put this here. All right, that's what distracted me early on. So now I have it out of the way. So we before we can look at Web3, we need to understand. We say Web3. It means there's Web1 and there's Web 2. So we would like to, let's just look at Web 1 and Web 2. Then we can look at Web 3 and move into the misconceptions. So Web 1 is, and everything I'm going to say here is like a mix of my personal opinions and research. So let's roll. So Web 1 is was mainly known as the static web. And what it means is that you just go to the website, www.something, and you have just an HTML, interface, and it just gives you information. So what you do is that you just take this information. So maybe a website provides recipes, food recipes. You just go food recipes outline, maybe food recipes in West Africa. So you have Ghana and maybe Nigeria, Togo recipes. So all you did was to consume the content. You don't interact with the website. So it's known as something we call the read only. So you just go there and read. That's basically what you can do. It's not so user friendly because you couldn't really interact. So that is Web 1. That was the first generation of the internet when it first started. Now, so the key points is that it's just read only. It was just static. You couldn't really interact or express anything. It was just, you just go and read and get your information and walk away. Now we moved to Web 2, and Web 2 wasn't, it's like more like a social web, right? So like how we had Web 1, which was like static web, Web 2 was a social web. So when you go to these websites and applications now, you don't just read only, you can read and write. So you can interact, you can post content and provide reactions, provide feedback. So that's what we see in our social world now, right? So we have, YouTube, Instagram that we are using now, Facebook now known as Meta, Uber, all these things are platforms such that the users usually provide the data largely, right? So you don't only read, you can write. Now you also provide data to these applications. Now, one interesting thing is that when you provide data to these applications, they kind of know what you like now. Okay, so they can now use this data they gather to now present to you products and services they can sell to you so that you can keep being on the platform. So it will amaze you. They start using YouTube and the ads are all, tailored around things you like. You'll be wondering, how did you know I like this? Okay, you're watching Instagram. Yeah, maybe you planned on your wedding. So probably you were checking online about wedding dresses or something, and you're scrolling through Instagram and you see that everything now, just wedding content is just coming to you. Yes.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. So how did you know? Yeah. Exactly. It's because you're providing data. So they're able to know your interest from this data that you're giving them. And this data you are giving is big business. So these corporations are centralized. They have power over this data. They can sell it to you, so monetize this data. And they are the only, let me say, partakers of any profitability or incentives that come from this data. All right. So you come, so you provide content for them and everything, and you react and everything, but they're able to take this data and then use it, and kind of use it for advertising and marketing and things that will keep you there, right? So that was Web 1, then Web 2. And another thing is about Web 2 is that because it's centralized, they have the ability to restrict users. Okay, so they can just restrict you from using the platform, and there's nothing you can do about it. There was a time where we saw that, I think, was it WhatsApp or something, servers went down. Nobody was able to actually access WhatsApp. So that is how centralized systems work. Because they are centralized, they have the power and authority. So that is Web 2. So from Web 1 to Web 2. Now Web 3 is like the third generation of the internet. Okay. And in Web 3, we can do everything we are doing in Web 2. Like you go to the website, you read, you write. But there's a third element here, which is own. So I told you about the content that you post. You go to Facebook, Twitter, you post content and everything. Now, and the fact that these are for centralized corporations and the big corporations and things like that. Now, for Web3, these applications are now built on what we call decentralized protocols. That is making it possible. That is, first of all, eliminating the central bodies and making everybody who is a partaker of that network an owner in the internet. So you own a part of the internet. So unlike the old times that probably Facebook would be making all the money, creating all the revenue, have all the data, in Web3 is internet based on decentralized applications and protocols. All the participants have the chance to own and govern the internet, right? So it gives access and ownership to these particular data that you're providing. And the fact that it brings ownership also has something tied to value. So we have this kind of creators economy formed in here. So that is Web3. So we have the decentralized systems built on protocols and all that. So that is Web1 to Web2 and to Web3. So the difference between the Web3 and the Web2 is basically the fact that it's decentralized and the users become owners, right? You're not just a user and you go away. You become an owner and you share a part of the internet. So I think this should be a very maybe brief explanation of Web1 to Web2 to Web3 and the differences. All right, so I would now jump into, I don't know if you have anything to say, any comments? Okay.
Let me just add this. I see that we have audience that are, people joining us. So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for, joining. And we just started and she's just giving us an intro into what Web3 is and the rise of Web3 basically. So please, if you have any questions, just put them up. I'll be noting them down. And when she's done, we'll take questions and we'll just Thank you so much. So I'll just let you continue once you are done.
All right. So since we have the concept of Web1 and Web2 and Web3 out of the way, I hope I'm still audible enough. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
All right. That's great. So we are moving into.
Well, I can hear you.
Okay. So we are moving into the misconceptions about Web3. So I think I have about 6 things that I want to talk about. And then, 6 misconceptions. They're actually a lot, but we are talking about popular misconceptions. So let's look at this 6 for today. All right. So the first one is, anytime you say Web3, everybody thinks you're talking about the metaverse. And that is... Yeah. Web3. Yeah. Web3 is not actually the metaverse. Okay. Web3, look at Web3 as the internet on which these many decentralized protocols are built on. So the metaverse, let me say, is a feature of Web3 or it's a subset of Web3. So when we say Web3, we are actually talking about crypto wallets, decentralized exchanges, the metaverse, DAOs, all these things form a part of Web3. So Web3 encapsulates all these things. So Web3 is not the metaverse. Web3 is just, is the bigger body that encapsulates all these decentralized protocols that we have. So as I said, Web3, we have crypto wallets, decentralized exchanges, DAOs, all these things form part of Web3. So that's the first misconception about Web3. So Web3 is not a metaverse. Web3 is bigger, right? The metaverse is just, a subset or a feature of the, Web3. All right, so that's out of the way. We are done with our first misconception. So that broadens our understanding about Web3. Web3 is not just the metaverse. All right, the next one is that Web3 is difficult to understand. Web3 is scary. Web3 is complicated. Web3 is just too cumbersome. So that is another misconception. And, I kind of get it why people think that Web3 is difficult. So when I say Web3 now, we're talking about crypto, NFTs, everything, right? So people think this crypto thing, hard. It's too hard. Like, it's for...
But
yeah. Yeah, it's so complicated. What is this blockchain thing that people are talking about? Like, I can't feel it. It doesn't make sense. So I want to just, yeah, it's not tangible, right? So I just want to clear this misconception that Web3, we want to talk about crypto, NFTs, the blockchain. Yeah, it's actually easy to understand, very easy to understand. The only thing you require is your willingness to learn. Okay, when you begin to learn about it with patience, and we need to be patient because one interesting thing is that a lot of people come into the Web3 space looking for the next way to make $1 million or looking for the next way of changing their lives overnight. So nobody pays attention to getting educated or, okay, they hear it's just too complicated. Let me just drop my money in there and then I make some money tomorrow, right? So that is actually not it. Web3 is not difficult. Web3 is not complicated. You should just be willing to learn. There are many interesting resources out there that break crypto NFTs into the simplest form. I actually have a YouTube channel called Crypthority. There you have very, interesting, well broken content, just as what you've started here on Talking TV. You can learn a lot more about Web3, cryptocurrencies, and all that. So Web3 is not difficult. Crypto, NFTs, the concept is not hard to understand. Just be willing to learn. And as you are willing to learn, you will be learning a lot more things. Your potential, you see a lot of potential in the space, and you can just go beyond wanting to make a quick buck, but also contributing to the entire economy. So that is the second thing. And it was really important that I talk about this because when you mention crypto anywhere, it's like, it's so strange. Wow, what is this complicated thing you guys are talking about? But it is not complicated. Just be willing to learn. Take the necessary steps. Don't be in a haste. Just be patient to understand it. And then you can actually do a lot more with it. So down with the second misconception. The first one, that Web3 is not a metaverse, right? The next one is Web3 is not complicated. It is not difficult to learn. It is not scary, right? So that is the second misconception I just dealt with. Now moving on to the third one. Now, people say that we are in a bubble, which is about best. Okay, so Web3, that is crypto, NFTs, is just a bubble. It's just a trend. It's just a hype. This thing, it will vanish. Oh. That's what people say. And we've had this thing for how many years now? This bubble should be really strong because it hasn't yet. Yeah, this bubble, I don't know what's made up of, but it hasn't. Yeah. So I kind of understand why people think that it's just a fad, or some people think it's just a marketing ploy, like Web3 is just a marketing ploy. It's not realistic. It's just idealistic stuff people are putting together. It's this whole crypto thing. You're just making money out of thin air. It's going to vanish. It's nothing solid. So I kind of understand it because there's public fear, and the fear is not, and once again, the fear is out of the fact that, one, they think it's difficult to understand, right? And then the next fear is just, let's say, ignorance. Like, how can you tell me there's a coin and it's like nobody kind of understands it? It's a bubble. It's just a trend, but unfortunately, it is not. It is not a bubble. Let me tell you how things, crypto and the entire of these concepts has been there for many years, but we saw something significant in 2019, 2020. You wake up every morning and it's in the news that Bitcoin is going up, up, up. Some meme coin is doing 1,000%. There was a frenzy because a lot of these, let's say, retail people, first-time investors got to know about crypto, and then they decided to just jump on. All right, so everybody was buying. There was a lot of frenzy about it. The adrenaline was so high, and so we had that phase. But looking at the phase now, we have gone past that frenzy. We have gone past the hype. Right now, what we see is that we are seeing real life use cases playing out. Okay, and I must say that the entire Web3 space and crypto space has gotten to a very critical moment because we are having a lot of, things in the space that are not really desirable, with projects going down the drain, companies and hedge funds being liquidated. They've completely, filing for bankruptcy. There are so many things. We have the governments, the SEC, the banks. Yes, that is the stage we are in now. And that is because we have gone past the hype and we are just trying to, establish a place where real life use cases are, playing out. And of course, we can't go without having these forces, So say we are under serious siege in these times, but that doesn't mean that it's a fad or it's going to go away. I believe that as time goes on and as, it matures, we are going to see a lot more stability in the space, a lot more use cases will play out. Web3 is big, right? When Web3 collides with money, then we have crypto, DeFi, and those things. Web3 can collide with health. Web3 can collide with governance. Web3 can collide with education. So there are so many industries that this Web3 space can actually support and has started supporting when it comes to maybe logistics, so many things, gaming. So it's not just the money aspect. There are so many things that Web3 can be used for and it's being used for. So this is not a fad. Blockchain technology is really solid. And I think that everybody should just take some time to learn about it. And it's going to be helpful. So the third thing is that Web3 is a fad. Web3 is a bubble. It's about to burst. Web3 is all those things. No, unfortunately, it's not. Okay, so as time goes on and the entire space matures, we are going to see real life use cases play out just as we have already seen. Yeah, so that's the third misconception I just wanted to talk about. Right. Can I move on to my fourth? Or you have anything to say?
Down all I have. I just wanted to run through them and then we'll take them one after the other.
All right, that's awesome. So the next thing is Web3 is for the tech guys. So yeah, that misconception is there that Web3 is for the super code readers, for the developers, for those who can read and write the code, for the tech gurus. And so if you don't know tech, you can't survive in Web3, and that is not true. Okay, that's a misconception. So one interesting thing is that Web3 opens arms to everyone from any background at all, with any experience, with any skill. And that is the beauty of the space. So think of it as we have the technology, which is blockchain, and that's where the tech guys are. Now, what this technology can do and how much impact it can make depends on you and I. So anybody can come into the space, anybody at all, anyone at all. So when I said Web3 is not a metaverse only, we have crypto, NFTs, and all those things. Now, NFTs like tokenized digital arts, not only arts. NFT is just a token, right? So when we look at the NFT space, we see artists there who don't know anything, don't know how to write a line of code. We have people doing music who are minting their artwork. Minting out their music, right? We have fashion designers, right? So if you're a fashion designer outside the Web3 space or outside or in the Web2 space, you can actually bring your fashion skills to Web3. You know that we people are, very, very conscious about how they look in the physical world, right? It's the same thing in the virtual world. When you take the metaverse, people are very serious about how they look. So as a fashion designer, you can design apparels for avatars. You can provide services. If you are a content creator, you can look into crypto and Web3, provide content. That has nothing to do with tech. If you are a marketer, whatever you are marketing now in the Web2 space, whatever you are doing, you can actually look into Web3 because most of these crypto projects and things actually want people to market for them. All right. If you can build a community, you are needed in Web3. If you're a graphic designer, you're needed in Web3. Think about it. If you're a lawyer, Web3. If you're a real estate developer, you have actually lands and houses in the metaverse. So you can study about it and recommend which land, because when you take the metaverse, there are so many versions. Okay, so you can look at it because people want to buy land in the metaverse. That'll be worth something in some time to come. And so which metaverse should I go to? So you can give advice on that. In fact, I can go on and on and on. So from this, you realize that Web3 is not just for tech people. It's not for just the people who understand the code. Anybody can come into this space. This space, anybody at all can come in and create a syndicate. Create a syndicate with your skills, with whatever you do exactly. So that is Web3. Web3 is not for the tech guys. If you're a photographer, if you are a teacher, if you are an economist, whatever you are doing, basically any skill that you have, you can find a place in Web3, build a brand, create value, and you can enjoy from that, right? So yeah, Web3 is not for tech people only. Anything at all you do, there is a space for you in the Web3 space that you can do. But that being said, no, Web3 and the blockchain is not the holy grail, okay? It's not the solution to everything, okay? So before you come into Web3, maybe you are doing anything outside crypto, before you come into Web3, just think about it. What are the values that you have? Do they align with blockchain? Is it that you just don't want to miss out? That's why you're coming. So take time to learn about the technology. Take time to know what you can do. So anything you do, you can actually find a space in the blockchain and the Web3 space. It's not for tech people. Everyone is invited. And that is how we build a decentralized community together. So that is the next misconception that I want to clear. And it's a really important one. And yeah, so I don't know if you have any comments before I move on.
How many more do we have to go?
2 more, then I'm done.
Yeah, you spent
Yes.
already.
We spent okay. So maybe maybe we can put the 2 more in it, or maybe I can just talk about it shortly, then we can round up. All right. So the next thing is that I mentioned that Web3 is decentralized, but the truth is that in practice, in reality, Web3 is not 100% decentralized. That's the truth, right? So we have applications built in the Web3 space that still has a centralized control. For example, when we take the NFT space, we have a marketplace like OpenSea. Now, OpenSea actually did something. They were able to block the IP addresses from certain countries. And in a decentralized space, that is not supposed to be done. So that is a problem, right? MetaMask also is able to, put some, sanctions on wallets and stuff like that. So if they're able to, kind of have control over the wallets, then it is not fully decentralized. Jack Dorsey also brought up something that, okay, Web3 is just Web2 disguised, such that we have VCs who are coming to take a chunk of the tokens, governance tokens, and we are just going back to Web2. Right, so yeah, there are many speculations around that, but I believe with time we may really get to that reality of decentralization. But for now, Web3, as is being preached out there, that's decentralized. It's not really 100% decentralized, right? Then the last one is Web3. Those guys, they hate regulations. They hate regulations because they are illegal and they are doing illicit stuff. Yeah, scamming people and stuff like that. But the thing is that Web3 in this space, we don't hate regulations. The only problem is if the regulations are coming to stifle the growth of the blockchain and mar the beauty of decentralization, then there's a problem. I wouldn't deny the fact that we've seen a lot of scams, a lot of things come up in the space. And well, when we have regulation that can, eradicate those things, that's great. But whatever regulation that is coming shouldn't come and destroy the beauty of decentralization and the fact that the power is given to the people. So these are the misconceptions that I've just spoken about, and I just hope that from today people will have a clear mentality about Web3 and what it can actually do.
Thank you so much, being you. made really clear the many misconceptions and what they actually are, as opposed to is commonly believed, right? Okay, so I'll take a question from the audience. I think he joined quite late, just Oheneba. He says, what is Web 3.0 and how different is Web 3.0 from the current web we have now? And I think you already answered that, but he joined pretty late, so I don't know if you can just quickly run through that for him. So I'll just ask my questions and then
all right, so what we are currently on is Web 2. That's the second generation of the internet. And with Web 2, it's more like a social web. So you go to a website, an application, you are able to provide content, and most of the content you provide is largely what makes up the platform, right? And these platforms are usually centralized, being governed by corporations and companies. They make very good use of this data. Whatever economic value that comes out of it is just in their hands. They have the power to restrict accounts, do all sorts of things. That is Web 2. But with Web 3, you don't just only read or you don't just only write, but you're an owner. You own a part of the internet. That data can be tokenized, right? You can transfer value to whichever platform that you want. So Web3 is decentralized. That's as I said, that's the idea, decentralized and giving power to the people, to the participants, in the economy. So that's the difference.
That's great. I think he's probably got that already. Okay, so I do two more things I want us to That's one in the area of the misconception, and the other is just like a question generally. So I think I should just come from the angle of misconception first. So when you were talking, you talked about Web3 and blockchain technology. I want to make a distinction. Can you say Web3 is the blockchain technology, or it operates on the blockchain technology, or blockchain is a feature of Web3?
Okay. So Web3 is a technology. The blockchain is a technology. And then Web3 is built on the blockchain. So the decentralized protocols I was telling you about use the blockchain technology to make it decentralized. I hope you get that. So Web3 encompasses decentralized applications and protocols, and these protocols make good use of the blockchain, and that is what gives them that feature of decentralized applications, peer-to-peer system of storage and making transactions. So blockchain is a technology. I would say that is the foundation and the backbone, and all these protocols are built on this technology, and everything coming together is called Web3. Right, so I just hope that's something. Yeah.
When we're talking about the misconception number, right? The misconception, so people think Web3 is so complicated, can't get it, it's so hard to So I just want to ask the question, right? So if the average person wants to, like an average measure of time?
I'm not really, your line is breaking. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm not really getting you clearly.
Okay, so where did you get me up to?
Okay, you were asking about the second misconception about education. That's, people thinking Web3 is very complicated and scary and all that.
So my point is, how long, right, can it take to actually get? I'm trying to adjust my phone, so yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, so how long do you think it will take, like the average person, to really learn about?
Ooh. Do you know I'm still learning? The space, learning in the space is unending. Okay, every day there's something new, right? You hear so many buzzwords, but I think just take it little by little. I don't want to give any timelines because everybody has his or her own rate of learning. But of course, we can have content, curated in maybe maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It just depends on you. Depends on your rate of assimilation and how much time you want to make for this whole thing. Because truth is, you need to invest a lot of time to learn and understand. Okay, so I wouldn't say, okay, in 2 days or in 3 days you'll be able to finish up everything and be a Web3 guru, but just take it a day at a time. Give yourself a month, 2 months of consistent learning, you'll be out of the newbie stage, right? A month and 2 months, 3 months of consistent learning. I want to emphasize on that. You will be out of the newbie stage. Now you'll be in the exploration stage where you get to hear a lot of things. You may not know every single thing, and it's not important to know everything in the space. I don't know everything in the space. You just need to learn what is relevant for you, right? Because when you take crypto space, there's so much you can do there. When you take NFTs, you take the metaverse. So 1 to 2 months of consistent learning will take you out of the total newbie stage, depending on how well and how fast you learn. Then there's an endless journey of learning, because this space is revolving. Every time there's something new, you hear there's DAOs, there's GameFi, there's learn to, you play to earn, there's this. They'll be like, wow, I'm getting intoxicated already. But it's not that intoxicating. Exactly. It's not that intoxicating once or it's not that, overwhelming. That's the right word. Once you kind of define your goals, what you want to focus on, and then, get better at that. But generally, there's a general information everybody needs in the space. If you want to get into crypto, you need to know about the wallets, exchanges, what blockchain is, what tokens are, what coins are. There are two different things. Why tokenomics? There are some basic thing, fundamentals. There are so many things you need to know, at least at the base level. But at the advanced level, you may not really venture into everything, but at least you should have a fair knowledge of what exactly you want to focus on.
Yeah, that's clear. That's clear.
Yeah.
Wow, so much to learn within this space. It's almost 1 hour, and do you know, it still feels like we haven't spent up to 10 minutes here already.
Exactly.
One thing about me is, like, once I get into these kind of conversations, I want to continue. I don't want to stop. But
I see that.
I have to. Yeah, I have like a whole page of points that I noted down, but we can't go into that. We
Yeah.
have to more time. We have to
Yeah.
respect the audience, and but I think what we can do is to maybe have a repeat session. Something
Okay.
like this. So I
Okay.
think I will just like communicate in our own personal.
Exactly.
That's
this space is really interesting. So once we start talking about it, I told you I can talk about it all day. So it's really interesting, and it's
I
great
get.
that we get a lot of people in the space to learn more about it and kind of explore.
Yeah, and that's why we have. That's what we are here for. And the earlier we get
Exactly.
into that, and yes, I look forward to. Hopefully, we'll have this like maybe in 2 weeks or something. So we'll just let everybody know. So please, audience, please follow us if you're not yet following Token TV, so you can get first-hand updates on what we have planned. I can assure you we have like a whole load of activities and events coming up, and just to make sure people are properly educated in the space of Web3, just basically facilitate the whole process of transitioning Web3 from Web2, and we basically do our part so that we can make it fantastic. Thank you so much for
It's
taking
a
out.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I am sure that you would definitely honor this call again once I extend it to you.
I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. I also want to thank you so much for riding with us, for staying, for joining at all. It's Talking TV, we are just starting off, and so many people might you
Yeah.
stay, they don't take it. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Stay tuned. If you're not following us yet, make sure you follow us so you can get real-time updates. We also post interesting stuff about the world of Web3. And I'm also learning, so I
I'm
think
learning to.
I'm doing this, I'm learning as well, and I love to learn. So basically that's it. And I
Thank you
look
for
forward,
having me too.
I look forward to seeing you like really soon, B, and I look forward to seeing our audience again next. Thank you again. I hope you have a
Okay.
good day. Bye.
Bye.